7 days with Lisa Hayes. With the price she pays, you'll be amazed. She's a national.
What is the history of your house? The ultimate guide to find out the history of your house for free using the internet. Our top tips, tricks, and detailed steps on how you can learn more about the history of the house you live in. Unless you live in a new, build property and you're its first buyer, then the home you buy will have some history. It doesn't matter if it's had 2 owners before you or it's had 22, your home was once owned by someone else, and possibly wasn't even always used as a domestic household. For many people living in listed buildings or historical homes, finding the history isn't all too difficult. However, for the vast majority of us, it can be difficult to know where to start when we're tracing the past of our properties. However, there are actually many resources you can use to research the architectural history of your house, particularly. If you've ever wondered, how do I research the history of my house? Then you're in luck. Today, we're going to be sharing our top tips, tricks, and detailed steps on how you can research your house history. Using old photographs and newspapers to learn more about your property history. We're all interested in the relics of the past. After all, they make us who we are, and built where we came from. So how can we use physical replicas, such as old photographs and newspapers, to learn more about the roof over our heads right now? Finding old photographs of your property can very simply give you a visual of how it's changed over time. If you're looking for resources for your photographs, then the Historic England Archive are well known for having an enormous collection of historical photographs, including buildings. You might also be lucky enough to find some records and photographs of your home in the past by visiting your local records office. These offices also tend to have archives of local newspapers from the years gone by. These are great to use when searching for contextual evidence. You can go online and search for a listed building in order to be able to view images taken from the Images of England project. You can also contribute to the list itself in order to help it to grow. Why not share the research you've done so far with other people with similar interest? You never know how much you could be helping someone with their own research. Using maps and plans to learn more about your property history. If Research My House History is at the top of your agenda at current, then look no further than to use maps and plans in order to learn more about the history of your home. Of course, there are a wide variety of maps and plans available, and it can actually be difficult to know where to find them. Lucky for you, we're going to be listing the most useful of these resources just below. Ordnance Survey Maps. Ordnance Survey Maps, also referred to as OS maps, can help to show you how an area in its entirety has developed as time has gone on. This will help you to establish the year in which your own home was built. If you are looking to get your hands on an Ordnance Survey map, then the best place to look is in the county office records of your local area, or alternatively local studying libraries. They should have them available going as far back as around the 1840s, and then onwards. Tithe maps. These maps are usually dated between the year 1836 and the year 1850, and were originally created with the sole intention of helping to administer tithe, now referred to as tax, payments. These maps will show details such as land boundaries, the names of previous owners and tenants of the property, what it may have been used for, and so on. The original versions of these maps can be found at the National Archives, and you may be able to find copies of them at your local records office. Field Books Land Valuation Maps. Back in 1910, there was a valuation office survey which mapped all of the properties in the country, as well as their owners or occupiers at the time, and their addresses. Field books and land valuation maps can usually be found at the National Archives. If you want to check your local record offices, they might be able to provide you with copies. Building plans. When it comes to building plans, it's usually the case that they will have been submitted to either local urban or rural district councils to be regulated before construction could begin. This particularly tends to be the case from the later years of the 19th century and onwards. If you are looking for copies of building plans, you're most likely to find these at your local record office. Enclosure maps. Okay, so these kinds of maps may not show individual buildings, but they could be helpful in building your research. Enclosure maps and awards can show you details such as boundaries, rights of way, and land ownership. They tend to date from the late 18th and early 19th. The vast majority of enclosure maps will be kept at local record offices. However, if you'd rather do your researching online, there is an electronic catalogue available. Manorial and estate records. If it so happens that your home was once part of an estate or manor by a large landowner, then you may be able to access further information about it from manorial and estate records. There are a range of manorial surveys and accounts, or alternatively records of the manorial court or crown estates to be found. The information that these documents tend to provide are details such as tenancy, previous occupation, and property description. As well as this, there may be details of the transfer of land within the estate. These kinds of records will usually either be held at the local record office, the Crown Estates Office, or within the private archives of large estates. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out the blog post version for a lot more information.
If you're trying to sell but it's not going well, if you can't get a sale and the estate agent fell, now is the time for you to jump and praise. 7 days with Lisa Hayes, where the price she pays, you'll be amazed. She's a national cash buyer, and she'll pay you much higher today.